Let me start sharing the screen. Today we are on the second day of the program. Let me start sharing. And Mr. Menon, shall I be on the standout mode?
Yeah, whatever you like.
Please let me know whether the screen is visible.
Yes.
Okay, so let's start learning about the other week. The other weekend, what we did was that we had discussed in general overview. We had a very good overview, very good interactive session on DevOps. Okay, uh, so there today we are going to start with the cloud, that is the AWS Cloud. What I have done, because we have gone through this cycle earlier as well, and there may be few of our old students or maybe the participants who had done in the first cycle, they have also joined. Maybe I'm not very sure, and there is a mixture of the new ones who have joined. So what I will do, as per the feedback, and the motivation for this internship is that we cannot cover the entire aspects of everything because that will take a full course. Of course, you understand that part. In the internship, we are trying to build up a general awareness of the tools. I will not say cloud is one of the tools. It is just one of the technology. You can say it's a technology with which you can achieve your DevOps goals. Without a cloud or without having the support or infrastructure of a cloud, most of the organizations are moving on to the cloud. Let me start it. And you see, we are going to understand the why we are here on a Saturday afternoon or a morning or an evening on learning the knowledge. We are trying to share our knowledge with you on Amazon Web Services, AWS. Okay. What I will do is that there are so many slides, and all these slides you are going to get it over in our site. Or those who have registered with us, you can always go into Kalki training site, and you will our site, and you will get that all the slides that we are discussing over here, or maybe that we are not being able to discuss everything. You will get all the slides over in our site. Okay. What I will do today is, instead of just going through the slides, I will also try to mix up with the hands-on. The hands-on means I will show you how we actually accomplish this task or this particular feature. We try to understand this feature over the cloud on AWS console itself. Will that be fine with you? Or you are fine if I go through the slides and make you understand the the theoretical background of cloud? It's up to you. It's as per your wish. You tell me, I can accept that. So anyone have any better idea, or I can have a mixture of both of them? Best of both worlds, you see. So some part of the theory, hands-on, hands-on. Okay, but for hands-on, the main constraint of a hands-on is that when I do it hands-on, it will be easier for me to go through hands-on. But will it be okay for you? Because you have no theoretical background of it. But yeah, I can show you few features which can mixture is a better idea, yes, but I will try to do that. It's difficult to put everything into this 2 hour session, but let me try. So before I go to the hands-on practically, I will better I will better at least give you some knowledge background about cloud. And there are few slides without which I will not be able to get inside that, the interface, AWS console. So cloud computing, basically, everybody knows, because cloud is not it is almost a 20-year-old technology. Yeah, the more and more popular it becomes, more and more easier and accessible it gets with the general users. Okay, so cloud is something which is like it's a it's a service, IT delivery service, or the IT resources which are available over the internet. And more organizations are shifting from their legacy system, that means their on premises, to the infrastructure which is available on the internet, because that reduces their headache of maintaining a huge infrastructure, and with a huge cost. Every year they have to spend millions of dollars, and literally I'm saying it is millions of dollars, because to maintain a data center with hundreds of servers is not an yeah, and also the servers are have to be backed up with a huge networking infrastructure, storage infrastructure, power, because you have to have them you have to store them in a cold storage sort of. So there is a lot of cost incurred. So why not give it to some service provider on the cloud, who will provide you all the services that you used to get on the real time, that is on in your on premises. So all these network engineers, hardware engineers, the you know the storage engineers, all they are available virtually. You just have to ask for that service and it is there. And the most important thing is that it is agile. It is like somebody sprinting out from the block. There is a block. Uh, every sprinter will be putting their foot onto the block. And there will be a shout like ready, steady, and go. On your mark, steady, and go. So with that gunshot, the sprinter is out of the block. Why? Because they have to reach a destination. Say it's a 100-meter sprint or 200-meter sprint, or maybe a 10,000-meter run. Whatever it is, there is a destination. But the agility is the most important part. You to agile, because our big elephants like servers, maybe they are big, they have a lot of processing capability, but they used to take a lot of storage, they used to take a lot of memory, they used to take a lot of CPU, they used to take a lot of power, lot of networking guys, and in all overall, the processing can become a bit slow or not that efficient. Now you are with the experts, you have given your infrastructure to the experts on the cloud service provider like Amazon. You can rest assured. Elasticity. You must have seen, or the very popular term is that pay as you go, right? You do not pay like electricity chart bill. It is like an electricity bill. Whatever units you have consumed, you need to be billed for that. You cannot be billed anything that you have not used. Similarly is the usage. Like if you had a data center and you have invested a lot of millions and millions of dollars on setting up the data center, but you are maybe using 20% of it, or 30%, 40% of it, but you have already spent 100%. So the 60% is a total waste, or you are not being able up to the mark to optimize the usage. So what happened is that you felt down the line that I should not have gone for that big investment, because I am not getting that much of a business to utilize that remaining 60%. We don't have that much of a user, interactions or user hits to our application. Therefore, but anyway, that was done. Now you have, whenever your business is at peak, in the peak, you will consume more resources, isn't it? So there will be lots of users coming and buying from your site or doing some business with you. So they will be using your applications, your infrastructure, your whatever. And it has to be automatically scaled up. More CPUs, more processing power, more storage, more memory, all these things. Whereas during the rainy season, that means, I mean, say when there is less business, you are not going to need all those extra resources, isn't it? So what you do, you should not be paid, or you should not be paying for the things which are not getting used. So the number of servers will get down, your, you know, all the resources usage will come down. So elasticity is very important. So you should be, your services should be elastic, and cloud provides that elasticity. Yeah, definitely everything that you do on the cloud is definitely saves a lot of money. That's why most of the organizations are going to going for the services over the cloud. You can deploy your applications or whatever the infrastructure within minutes, where it used to take months or a few weeks to build up your environment. Now you can build up your environment within minutes. And it is not that I'm saying it is actually this is the industry of observation do today. These are the various services that has been categorized. AWS has divided the entire globe into regions, and there are indicators, or which are called availability zones. Okay. Otherwise, it will be impossible to cater to the entire world, because this there can be billions and billions of users, millions and millions of users, and you cannot reach to each of them. So what they have given, they have divided the entire world into several regions and the availability zones. Each region will have 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 availability zones, depending on the number of customers or number of users, or how big is the region. It is for better administration. We are going to today do something. Uh, in our main course, we do a lot of in-depth study of these services. Okay, but today, because we are in the internship, we are going to see some popular features. Like we are going to see the compute services of AWS, which is Amazon EC2, Elastic Cloud Compute. So it is there are two C's and elastic. Everything is elastic. So as I was saying, can anybody try me explain what is infrastructure as a service by looking at this diagram or this particular picture? So what is this blue portion? The OS, middleware, runtime, data, and applications. They are getting managed by your organization. What about the virtualization, server, storage, and networking? These are a very uh, this is something which you need to depend on your engineers, who have provided you with the networking support, storage support, servers, and they have given the technology for the virtualization. So it is better that these four things you give it to the cloud or the cloud service provider. Are you getting me? So if that is done, then what is that? At least this much of headache is not with you. It will be managed by the your cloud service provider, and that is called infrastructure as a service. You still hold all these services with you yourself. Okay, but the infrastructure you have given it over to the cloud service provider. This is on the software side. Okay, now platform as a service. This was the infrastructure, And this now becomes the entire platform you are going to give it to the cloud service provider. The entire platform, starting from networking, ending with runtime. So if anything goes wrong, it is the headache of the cloud service provider. They will give you that service. You just have to pay for that service. And also is the amount of networking, amount of storage, amount of servers, number of servers, the amount of virtualization. You will not need to pay anything if you are not using any of them. Okay, you pay as you go. Only what remains with you is applications and data. Data is very secret. So you keep the data. Applications, you own the applications because it is either you have developed those applications or the vendor has developed. Anyway, that is your ownership. You manage them. You don't want to give the data to be managed by the with the cloud provider. And that system or that particular thing arrangement is called the platform as a service. You have given the entire platform to be serviced with the cloud provider. And what about software as a service? The highest form of that, you have given everything, you have outsourced everything to the cloud vendor. In that case, it is called software as a service. You have given, starting from networking, ending with your application, entire thing to the cloud service provider. So remember this four things: on-premise, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Yeah. So with this background, at least with this background, I am now shifting over to the hands-on. Let us see. This is the AWS Management Console. That is, AWS is our cloud provider. Can you see the screen? Everyone can see the screen. Did I share it? Hello? Anyone, please let me know. Are you being able to see the screen? That is AWS console.
Yes.
Very good. So this is my interface. AWS has given me this interface, or I'm entering the house of AWS, the cloud. So this is my door. I will log in, sign into the console. It is giving me uh, an interface to sign in. I will try to go through my IAM user, identity and access management, the user that have been created by my administrator and given to me. So let me go for my account. I have given an alias name. This is called aliasing because otherwise my account has 12 digits. Okay, and it is not humanly possible for me to every time remember my 12 digits. So I have given an alias name. Like you have a nickname. Sometimes you may forget your big name. So you have been given a short name. So that is what I have done. So this IAM user I am using for this account. Next, I'm going to use one of my IAM user, let's say DevOps Internship. That is the username, IAM username, and that is the password. Oh, sorry. I will go back. I will log in as a root user. Okay, for the time being. I'm going to log in as a root user, and I'm going to use my email address. And this is my password. I sign in. Okay. So it has allowed me, it has authenticated me, it has authorized me to use AWS Cloud. This is my console home. Okay. What was the service that I was first time interested in? What did I say? That we are going to see some hands-on on EC2. That means we are using this Amazon EC2 feature to create our server. What is EC2? You just have known this, Elastic Cloud Compute or computing. And as I'm doing this, can you see that I'm in the Singapore region? I'm in Kolkata of India, eastern part of India, and Singapore is a bit nearer to compared to Mumbai. Okay, Mumbai is a bit far away from me, so to avoid the latency, okay, I'm using Singapore. So can you see that this region has a code? Every resource on AWS on the cloud will have a resource ID. This is the ID. So what is my resource? The region is my resource. That is the endpoint. That is where I'm going. And what is the ID? AP Southeast 1. So if you are in North Virginia, US East, it is called US East 1. Ohio, US East 2. So US East has been divided in two big regions, Ohio and North Virginia. US West is another big region. So they have divided into two regions, North California and Oregon. And there are many others, but that's fine. This is Asia Pacific. So many regions and so many regions have been divided. And each of the regions will be having an availability zone. We are coming to that. Okay, so let me look for this service. Otherwise, you can click on this service and there are so many services. If I click on all services, particularly I am going to use the compute service, isn't it? What do you see? The compute service, the storage service, database service, networking service. Okay, I'm selecting the compute service. And under the compute service, there are several other services. I'm going to EC2. What is mentioning? Virtual servers in the cloud. So these are virtual servers. Now, can you tell me how much time did it take on-premise to build a server, a big server like of a good size, some good amount of memory, good amount of CPU, and a good amount of infrastructure? It may take you, if you had experience of working with a big organization where they can set up their own data center, it may take a full month to set it up. Not only month, I mean, even for if you consider one server with all its operating system installed, databases installed, it can take really it can take 3 to 4 weeks. Whereas now you see how much time I will take to create a server. It can be a very powerful server, it can be a minimal server, but it won't take more time to create a bigger server or less time to create a smaller server. No, the time taken is almost the same and it is very minimal. So I click on this service. I am presented with a dashboard, EC2 dashboard. You see, it is giving me so many things. And under this, you will have this many resources, okay, instances which are running. Elastic IPs. The elastic IPs are the IP address, which are you are making an elastic IP. But again, that is a resource which you can create and assign it to your instance. So otherwise, the instance that I'm going to create now is going to have, if I start it up, it will be automatically assigned one IP address. You know what is IP address? Any electronic device that you use over the internet will be addressed with an IP address. I'm not going to that discussion, but let us understand that your laptop will also have an IP address. And whenever you talk to another laptop or another server over the on this thing, both the devices will be talking between the IP addresses. Okay. Similarly, I will create one instance. So this instance, this elastic IP is one constant or a fixed elastic IP that I can assign to my instance. Otherwise, I will be every time I shut down and every time I start up the instance, there will be an automatic random IP address generated by AWS and assigned to it. It will not be fixed. If you want to fix it, you can create one elastic IP and assign it. So everything is elastic. And you have your applications distributed or deployed over the 10 servers. Same application, let's say a Java application running on all the on the 10 servers. And there is a huge request coming in. That means a huge traffic coming in, accessing your application. Your applications are quite, you know, so you can establish load balancers between the 10 servers. So automatically a load balancer will also have an IP address. You will hit the IP address of the load balancer. You will not directly hit the servers or instances or EC2 instances. Load balancer has its algorithm, the logic inbuilt to round robin between the servers. It is up to its intelligence, so you can depend on its intelligence. Again, this is one of the resources you can create. Snapshots. Snapshots are what you can do to have a backup, incremental backup. All these things are various features within the compute service. Now, I am interested with the instances. You can create auto-scaling groups and assign them with instances, and will happen the load surge. There is a surge of load. What happens? Immediately there are millions of users which have logged in and they want a particular service. You never have any control. Your application is public. So if you have auto-scaling groups assigned to your instances, what will happen if there is a shortage of any resource at that peak time? It can automatically scale up. That means there is one server enough. Okay, you need one more server with the same configuration. You will get it because you have established an auto-scaling group which can monitor the load and the requirement. Similarly, there is placement groups, volumes, dedicated host, key pairs, and security groups. So key pairs are like your fingerprint. To get inside your server instance, you need a fingerprint authentication because it's part of the security, as well as you will establish a firewall, which is called a security group, SG. These are the networking element. Okay, and remember one thing. Okay, when I create that, I will show you. So I have clicked on instances. Right now, I'm in the Singapore region. My account name is Devashish, and this is my account ID. Okay, this is my organization and all those things, security credentials for this IAM user, Devashish. Now, I would like to create an instance, EC2 instance. Anyone have a question, please do not hesitate to ask me. Please, it's a request. Do not shy away from asking any question. So what I'm doing a manual operation. This orange box, I will click on this. So it has produced a wizard, a launch wizard. Okay, it is helping me to create one instance. Instance is nothing but EC2, a virtual machine. You see, Amazon EC2 service allows you to create virtual machine. That's all. Or it is called instances technically. And run that on the AWS Cloud. When you are running this, who is maintaining this server? Who is giving you the network infrastructure? Because without a network infrastructure, how will you have the server created? Okay, you need a VPC. VPC is the virtual private cloud, a miniature cloud on which your server will be hosted. By default, each region will have one default VPC. And there are three or 4 or 5, as I told you, availability zones or subnets under the VPC. Okay. Now, I am creating a server. I'm giving it a name like, let's say, DevOps Internship. Okay. That is a name. You can give it any name. It's a tag. Okay. Now we come to the Amazon machine image. A machine image is nothing but, an operating system available as an image. An operating system which is having an image. So, and the entire operating system is available as a container within an image within a container. So it is like everything in this world has moved on to containerization. We will learn containerization in one of the weekends. So let me quick start. So it is helping me to quickly start up my machine. So these are very popular few operating systems, out of which I'm going to select Ubuntu. Ubuntu is one of the Linux flavors. You have heard, definitely you must have heard. Linux is an operating system. Like you work on a laptop without an operating system. Can you operate a laptop? No. And that operating system can be a Mac OS or a Windows OS. Similarly, on this server, most of the organizations will be using Linux. 98% of the organizations will be, you say, small, medium, or large organizations will be using your Linux. And one of the Linux flavors is a very popular flavor called Ubuntu. I am selecting that. So this is an Ubuntu server 24.04 LTS. Everybody can hear me? I'm not sure about my network, how good or bad it is. So I assume that you are here. If you do not hear me, if my voice is broken, if you cannot see the screen, please raise your voice. Okay. Long-term support, highly available virtual machine, high availability. SSD is, yeah, Israr, tell me.
Sir, you're not sharing it.
Yeah, you can also, if there is a disturbance of audio, you can also write your question. So as you are writing your question, please let me proceed. So SSD is the solid state device, which is an optical hard disk, you can say. So I'm creating a server with a operating system, with a hard disk, and all those type, the volume type. So I have selected this long-term support 2404 because it is the year 2024. Again, there will be another version in 2026. It will be 26.04. Anyway, so I have used the latest version, and that version, that AMI ID, as I told you, every resource that you create or use will have a resource ID, and this is the resource ID. Anyway, this is a 64-bit machine. This is a image. It's an image. It is readily available with Amazon. Amazon has given it to you. So you do not need to install it anything. It's just you have to deploy it. That's all. And this image is going to be deployed over this machine, the virtual machine, the EC2 instance. Okay. Now, what is the type? I will find that is with T2 micro. There are lots of models. You can go from a very small to a very, very, very big T2X large, 2X large, and also you can start with a T3 nano, T3 family. So there is a huge possibility of getting. So here you see 8 CPUs. 32 gig memory, or I am fine because I'm just having a demo. So I am very fine with this T2 micro. Micro is a small machine. Yes, okay. One CPU, 1 GB of memory. Now, let me, we are creating a key pair, or is there no key pair? Okay, I will create a new key pair. Key pair is nothing but a encrypted private and a public key pair. So I will give a key pair name, DevOps Internship. Just a name to the key pair. Okay. I will go for a key pair type of RSA. RSA is a algorithm for this encryption. You can go for this one as well, doesn't matter, but both are equally good. So I will, because I am directly going to use with a PPK because I'm going to use with a with PuTTY. So let me directly download PPK because I'm not going to convert this PEM. I can convert this PEM. PEM is a format, open SSH format. So that is the public key. I can convert that to PPK through the PuTTY keygen, but I'm not going to do that for that the sake of time. So I'm going to create the key pair. Immediately, a key pair will be attached to this instance, and one the copy of this. Can you see? Can you see this part? The DevOps Internship PPK has been downloaded. Okay, into my downloads folder. So it's okay. I know that. Afterwards, I will do. So this key pair has been associated with my instance. Now coming to the network settings, I am not changing anything. I am very fine with the default VPC. As I told you, every region will have one default VPC. And with VPC comes the subnet, because a single VPC cannot manage the entire show. So it has been divided into availability zones. And each availability zone will have one default subnet. And I say I do not have any preference. Okay, tell me one thing. You are creating one server, or how many servers you want to create? I want to create one server. Okay, so I've given number of instances 1. If you give number of instances 10, in one shot it will create you 10 server of the same configuration. Yeah, you can change the name afterwards for each server. But right now, for the sake of this demo, I'm using one. Tell me, for creating one server, how many subnets will you need? This is one of the general question. Like, if you logically think, how many subnets you will need to create one server? Anyone? Will you need two subnets or one subnet? Or will you need how many? One. Did you say one?
Yes, sir.
Yes, very good. Thank you. Because physically, even though everything is virtual, but actually in the background it is physically you are being allocated physical memory, physical CPU, physical server. It is somewhere in Singapore, in some data center, your server is getting created. See the technology. Okay, that server needs only one, because one server, one subnet is enough. Yeah, if you have given 10, and if you have left it on your AWS, let AWS take a decision in which availability zone it will create all the 10 servers, or maybe it will create, say there are five availability zones. Let's say AWS has decided that I will create 2 in each. That's up to him, up to AWS. I am not giving. So if I want to have my own preference, then I will go for editing. I will like to give my own, or I can create one, my VPC of my own. I will give my preference. But I don't want to do all this stuff. Okay. I will not create any new subnet or new VPC or I will not say enable or disable or this thing. So basically, I will be fine with this network setting. So this is the default VPC and I have no preference. Otherwise, in Singapore, there are 3 subnets or 3 availability zone. I could give it to one of them. So this is AP Southeast 1C, 1B, 1A, ABC 3. But I do not want to have my preference. I will say auto assign public IP. So every time I shut down and start up my EC2 instance, it will be enabled. So a new IP address will be assigned automatically. Okay, now coming to the firewall, I would like to create a firewall of my own. Sorry, if there is nothing, then I will create. Or if there is one, I can select one. What is a firewall? It is nothing but some a firewall you are building over your VPC. Okay, like you are building your house, you like to fire fence or create a firewall around your house such that there are no trespassers. Who are the trespassers? Somebody unauthorized would like to access your server. Will you allow? No. First of all, you will stop that person to get inside because the person will not have your fingerprint. If somehow the fingerprint is available with him, somehow, if that is possible, technologically everything is possible. So then you have compromised. It is compromised. But generally, it is understood that you will not share this file with anyone else. Because remember, if you allow somebody to use your EC2 instance, your server, so the bill will come to your name, but that person is using at his own merriment. Okay. He will be very happy, the happiest guy on the earth, because he is putting all the bill on your shoulder. And he is making a good time of using your resources. So don't part away with this. And also extra security that you are enabling is creating a security group, and nothing but security groups are just your rules, the group rules. You are saying that you are whitelisting. So you cannot blacklist because there are millions and billions of IP addresses. Can you blacklist? It is not preferable. You whitelist. You are allowing only these IP addresses to come inside or to get attached or to get connected. But yeah, you can whitelist. Or there is another way that you give permission to everyone 0.0.0.0/0. That is the CIDR, classless IP address. That means you are giving that permission to all of the users. You are not blacklisting, neither you are whitelisting. So that is some rule. And also you are saying that what type of applications can connect to me, whether it's an SSH or a HTTP application or a HTTPS. So I am restricting the traffic in that way. I will check afterwards what is there inside the security group, what are the rules. And I'm happy with 8 GB and GP3. That is, GP3 is the type of your general purpose SSD. SSD is the volume, that is your hard disk, solid state device. Anyway, I'm very happy with this. I will just, because I want to not only make this a server, because my development team said that Devashish, can you create a server for me? That is one of the roles of a DevOps engineer, that developers will keep on asking you for some infrastructure to be built for them, environment to be built by them, for them. So they will ask you to, Devashish, can you build me one server, which is a web server? Okay, I say, so can you give me all the specifications? What type of, how big your server will be? They will give us all the specifications. That's okay. And I will go to the advanced settings because he has asked me he or she has asked me to build a web server at the same time. So what I will do, I will use the user data. That is one very optional functionality, but it's a very nice utility to have. What I will do, I will put in some instructions like a shell script. I will create when the instance will be launched, this will be executed one after the other. So I will just copy it from somewhere. Okay, just 1 minute. Some user data. Okay, I will open with the notepad and I'm going to copy this. I will tell you what I'm doing. I come over here and I paste it simply. And this is what you say, the hash ping bin bash. That is a bash. That is a shell script I'm writing. I'm not worried about this one, so just forget it. What I'm doing, I'm using, you do not know about all these things will be taught in your main course, but rather I'm saying I'm using a package manager. APT is a package manager in Ubuntu. I am installing Apache 2. Apache 2 is one of the HTTPD services, or it's basically a Apache web server. And then I'm starting up the service, Apache 2 service, and I'm enabling the service. That means every time I shut down and start up, the service will be enabled. Okay. And once this Apache service is there or Apache web server is there, I am creating one index.html and putting that into the website or the web folder of Apache. Var www.html. I'm not going to the details. I'm just showing you the effect. What I'm saying, I'm trying to create one liner, one web page, and that I'm going to see from outside. Let's create this. So what I did a user data along with the creation instance. So launch that instance. I reviewed it. I'm fine with all this information. I'm going to launch the instance. This is a manual step. Okay, it is success. So I will go to my instances and you refresh it. Yeah, a server has been created right now. It is saying that we have this particular thing. I will click on this. I think all the details it has come. It is showing that public IPv4 address. This is a public IP address. This is going to be generated for me for this server. Now, if I shut down and start it up, this IP address will change, but this will not change. This is the private IP address, but the problem with the private IP address is very secured. I cannot connect to this server from outside using private IPv4 service address. I have to use the public IP address. Okay, I will just copy it. So it will have an ID. It is in the running state. It is using T2 micro. Sorry, it is created. See, I have not selected which availability zone or which it will be created. It has AWS zone. AP Southeast 1, which is the region, and A is the subnet availability zone. This is the public IP address. There, I have not created Elastic IP. If I had created Elastic IP, I would have assigned it over here, and I would not use this anymore because I would not, because I can always connect to my, like, which is changed. And the security I have created was around this server was Launch Wizard 1, and it is DevOps Internship. This is the key pair with which I'm going to, it's a Linux machine. So I have a ready thing, but now I have, how do I know that I can connect to it from outside? Yes, I will go to Putty, one of the softwares, which is an SSH connection software through which I will say, okay, let's say I have created this. I will load this settings. I will change the IP address. Okay, I will come appearance and everything is fine. On the connection, yeah, it is the data is Ubuntu. Ubuntu is the default user. SSH, I would like to go to authentication and go to the credentials. Just change this one. I will browse. And the one that I've created must have been in the downloads folder, isn't it? Yeah, in the downloads folder, there is this PPK file. Remember, putty private key. You have downloaded that with the same name. You have created the key pair. I will open this. So my thing is that it is giving me the path where my private key file for authentication is there. I will save my session. I will save my session and I will open it. I will try to connect to my server and it is saying accept it. Do you see? I have logged into my Ubuntu. See, my username is Ubuntu. I have given it automatic login because I don't want to, I'm a bit lazy. I don't want to type in. Okay. The user has logged in. Who is the user? Let me clear the screen. My network is not good today. Okay. Sometimes it is working, sometimes it is not. But this is the user. And what is this? Can anybody tell me? This is an IP address. But what type of IP address? Whether it's the private IP address or the public IP address? Remember, you have already logged into your EC2 instance from outside. Is this your private IP address? Yes, it is your private. Thank you. It is your private IP address. Correct. Because you have already logged in. This is not your public IP address. Through the public IP address, I got the access. Now, I would like to see whether my Apache that I have installed while I have launched this instance, is it there working? I'm worried about the status. Apache 2. Oh, yes, it is active and running. Okay, there is another way to verify. So I will invoke one more session outside. What is my IP address? I will say HTTP. I will give, oh, sorry. What is my IP address? I will go there. Which one will I pick? Which one will I pick? Whether will I pick the private IP address or the public IP address? I will pick up the public IP address because that is the one through which you can access from outside. HTTP this, and I will say on which port number. What is the port number for any HTTP server like Nginx or Apache? It is 80. I will press enter. Do you see that this is the message? Hello everyone, this is a backup server of Kalkey.com. It is working on IP. This is the domain. This is called the IPv4 domain. Yeah, I can check that. Sorry. You see, if you go down, this is your IP. You see the private IP, AP Southeast 1, compute internal. Let me check. AP Southeast 1 compute internal. So it is saying that you are in the kalkey.com domain of this particular instance. Are you happy? But who has allowed this? So let me, hello. But who has allowed this? This is an HTTP application. Do my security guard, the security guard by some name called Launch Wizard 1. Let me see. What is this guard saying? The guard is saying that I will allow the inbound rules, the inbound traffic which is coming inside my EC2 instance, whether it is following this rule. Let me see what are the inbound rules. Okay, it is saying that I am allowing HTTP applications. I am allowing HHS, SSH, this thing. If I have deleted this, suppose I have deleted this, or rather, sorry, I will not save. I will cancel. I will again go to inbound rules. I will take out this HTTP. This means these are the saying that you can come with any application having this service of SSH or HTTPS or HTTP. Now, suppose I take this out. And also, can you see that I have not restricted or whitelisted or blacklisted any IP address? So I have allowed any IP address coming from anywhere, any part of the world to connect to me if you have the fingerprint. So I will save the rule. Now I will go to my this thing. I will refresh this. Will it work? It is not working. You see? It is not working. It is trying to find the server, but the hello? Hello? Anyone trying to ask anything? So it is trying to get inside. Everything is matching, but the firewall is not allowing it. Just wait. It will not. It will not. Because you have not allowed any application coming with an HTTP, any HTTP application coming inside. And HTTP, you see, the connection has timed out. It has taken too long because somehow the security guard was strong enough to resist an entry with HTTP application. Now, I immediately what I do, I understood my mistake. I want to allow it. So what will I do? I will go to edit inbound rules and I will add the rule. I will say HTTP and I will say custom IPv4 and this one is allowed. I'm not disallowing anyone. Save the rule. Now immediately I will come to this problem page and I will say, do you see? This application is now that particular page is index.html is working. Okay. Or you can go to this server and you can go, remember, where was my var www.html? This was the index.html. If you say sudo vi index.html, you will see this. Hello everyone, this is the backup server of kalkey.com. This is the page, HTML page. It is getting rendered on the browser, this one, through this server. So are you happy? Now I have a very short time, another half an hour. So let me use that time to give you one great feature of S3. So let us go back. So no doubt, I will go to the services and which one? I will again come to the compute service because I know storage service, because that is a storage service, right? Storage and S3. So scalable storage in the cloud, and this is one of the most popular services, storage services. So I click on this. I would like to create a bucket. Bucket is like a container. You will create a bucket for storing your files and folders and images and whatnot. Basically, these are used by your developers. Developers store their code. Apart from the GitHub, they also can store their code on a S3 bucket because that is more secured. It is over the cloud, and at least you have an alternative backup. So create a bucket. I'm creating a bucket, and as long as I'm creating a bucket, my bucket is I am the owner because I am Devashish is creating this bucket in the region Singapore. But even if it is showing that you are working on this particular Singapore region, but this bucket is global in nature, that means no two buckets all over the world can have the same name. So be very sure to not create any bucket. So I will, and also the naming convention of a bucket is all in small. You cannot use underscore or anything, no space. You cannot give, only a hyphen. DevOps to separate the words if you want to give. You can give it together, but you cannot say DevOps capital internship because capital letter is not allowed. So let me say DevOps internship Kalkey, something which will not, I know it will not match. Kalkey com uh, AWS bucket, S3 bucket. Big name I have given such that it is not duplicate. So I have given this, and I want to have the ACLs access control list enabled because I'm going to do a bucket which also will store some files which I will quickly do and I will access from outside. So object ownership. Hello, anyone asking any question? Okay. So I will make the ACLs enabled. ACLs are objects in this bucket can be owned by other AWS accounts. So I'm allowing, because let's say I'm working in a project and my other teammates working different accounts can also access the same bucket because we want to share the same common bucket. I will say bucket owner preferred. I am not blocking any public access. So I am enabling all public access to this bucket, though it is not very recommended one, but I will say I acknowledge that I'm taking a risk. Okay, fine. Bucket versioning, I will enable this. There's so many things. There are so many features. I cannot go in details of each and everything. But let's say I'm creating a bucket quickly. I have created a bucket. So the bucket has been successfully created. And this message is very assuring because that means this bucket is not duplicate. So I can see this bucket has been created. I will click on this quickly. The bucket is a container. Okay. I have not, no objects are there. It is an empty bucket. The bucket is there. You have created physically, but the bucket is empty. So what I can do, first of all, I will go to the properties. I will check that there is the versioning which is enabled. Versioning means you can store as many copies of your file, but each and every version will be maintained. So yesterday you have done, day before yesterday you have done on the same file, you are continuing to write some code or any document. You keep on doing it every day, but every day then you also save it and upload it onto your AWS3 bucket. So that S3 bucket will store it with a version such that if something is wrong, you can go back, roll back to the previous versions. It's a tracking of the history. It's a big feature. And I will also go to the very end. I will say I will like to host my S3 bucket as well as my website, static website hosting. Edit. I will say enabling. We will enable this. I would like to, the hosting type is host a static website. Okay. And I will give the index page as index.html and the error.html. Error dot some error will happen. It will be there. I do not have any redirection rule, so that's okay. I will save the changes. Okay. I will go to the permissions and I will see that the blocking was taken off. The bucket policy. Okay. I can do the bucket policy. First of all, let me say the object ownership is bucket owner preferred. Access control I have given. I can edit and I will give everyone the public access to list, at least to read, because I want to access that website. So I would have to have a read permission. Okay. And I will save the changes. Oh, yeah, you must make this that I understand the effect of these changes because I'm making the ACLs enabled, public thing enabled. Save the changes. You go and everything is done. Now I will load the objects. What are the objects that I want to at least I will. Okay, first of all, let me create a folder by the name images. I will create a folder. So see, this is also an object. Now my bucket is not empty, at least it has a folder. And I will click on this folder. I will upload few images. I will upload this hello world, that image JPEG over here. Okay. Sorry, I will just copy this. I will. This is a JPEG. This is the image. What I did, I loaded this, uploaded this hello world.jpg under the folder. Upload. So upload succeeded. You close it. So what you see is a hello world.jpg. That file, that there's a JPEG file, the picture file has been uploaded over here. So you go back to your bucket. So you have an image folder, images folder, under which you have a hello world JPEG. And on this also, I would like to copy or upload under this is the root folder. Okay, I will upload. What are the things I will upload? I will upload at least the index.html, the error.html. Remember, we have given that our host, the website is hosting that index.html and the error.html. For the time being, I'm copying not only this, I will copy this, this, and this. I will tell you. So I'm basically uploading all these 5 files, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There is a purpose why I'm doing this. I've done this. So see, it is loading. All the 5 files have been loaded successfully. So upload succeeded. You close it. Now I have done most of the things. So what I will do, I know what I have written in my index.html. So I can go one time. In this, I will just try to open it in the notepad. And you see, this is a simple HTML file, nothing. DevOps Internship S3 hosted, that is the title, and that is the heading, welcome to. DevOps Internship S3 hosted website. This website is hosted in whatever, and it is uploading, or the source of an image that it will display is hello world.jpg from the images folder. So this is I'm going to host. So I have checked this. I will go back and let me check the error. The error HTML has nothing but your some this is in color red. That is oops, there is an error. If there is an error, fine. So with this, what I will do, I will go over here. I will go to the properties. I will come down to my host site, website hosting. Do you see there is a URL? That is the endpoint. With this, you can access the bucket, and with the bucket, you can access the host. So I will copy this. I will go to my browser here. I will paste it over here. You see? It is having some issue. It is saying 403 forbidden. That is, it could hit the bucket, but the bucket was it was access denied. Access denied. The request ID was not being able to access it. There is some policy issue. See, everything is very secured. So what I do, the last thing that I want to do is go over here and I will go to my permissions and quickly give a bucket policy. Edit. I will go to add a new statement. Okay. I'm going to what I'm doing. I'm adding a policy statement. So you come to okay. So I have a public policy. I'm assigning a public policy to that bucket. Otherwise, from outside, I will not be able to access the static, the bucket. So what I do, I will say I have an action, or simply I will copy this. And in the action section, what I will do, I will put this. And the principal, so if this is the last one, I do not give a comma. The principal should be, principally, I'm going to access all the resources. So I've given a star. So principal is a star. And after that, you must define your resource. So let me give it over here. So what I'm saying, basically, that I am assigning a policy with the version this, whatever the version is, the date, and the statement is a collection of various JSON. This is a JSON format. So the statement says that this is the key statement. It has a key and a value. So this is my ARN, Amazon resource name, AWS S3. What is this? Can you tell me? What shall I mention over here? What is my resource? Basically, I will copy this, or I can copy simply this one. This is the bucket. This is the name of my bucket. I will copy this and put it over here. And within the bucket, all the objects, so star. Once I have done this, And what I'm doing for the action, I want to get an object, access any object within the bucket, within the resource. So I am giving this permission. So this policy will help me to access my website from outside. So I will say save changes. Okay, so let me review this. Yeah, my bucket has a policy, right? Now I will go over here and I will try to do this. Can you see I have executed my web page? Welcome to DevOps Internship S3 hosted website. This is a website is hosted in AWS S3. Now I have one more thing. This is the last thing. After that, I will end the session. So I have, you go back to your bucket. I have uh, a welcome test. So what I will do, I will copy this entire thing. I will come here. I will open this, and index.html I do not need to mention. It is by default. But welcome test.html. You see, I have invoked the same. In the same bucket, I am having multiple websites. Isn't it good? The same S3 bucket I'm using for hosting multiple websites. And this is another website. Then you can ask me, what about that error? Okay, so let's say I'm not giving HTML. I'm giving HTM. Oops, there is an error. So this is all. I think you have got the essence, maybe not fully, but at least partially that will do. That is enough for a day. So I will go back to you and hand it over to Mr. Menon. Mr. Menon, I think we have covered it. So we can use this last 15 minutes or 10 minutes to discuss whatever you have any questions. Somebody has asked some question. I wanted to park it for the end of the session. We can now discuss in general. So was it a bit helpful, fruitful for you to understand a bit? I have not covered even 40%. AWS is a vast subject, but I have not even covered 40%. I am, it is too big. It is not even 20% I have covered today. It is not possible to cover, but at least you have an awareness that there is a cloud, a service provider with lots of powerful features, and you can do things. How much time did I spend to create my server, and that server being a web server, and then also I can have a S3 bucket from that service of AWS, and I have hosted multiple websites. How much time did I take? It did not take me more than half an hour. Do you have any questions? Uh, I don't know about the network part, but whether you were able to hear me properly or hello. Any other question? Very good question. Not only question, you can discuss anything, any general thing. That means somebody asked me what is the what was the question? I forgot. Israr or somebody else asked me one question. Let me see. Let's see that.
Yeah, I'm trying to see how I can frame this question, So I'm going to try. Now, if you have in the bucket several JPEG, files, right?
Yes, yes,
That
yes.
is in the image. Now, and you want to host this, of course, in the website. Because I know yesterday when we were doing it, we had to go to index, and then we now had to like change the parameters where we now have to put you remember the AAA that we did, that we now have to put in the index, then before it can actually come up under the. Now you did something now, so I'm trying to look at that. Now my question is, okay, then you also had several HTML files, right?
One more
Of
HTML, yes, one more, because I wanted to show you
I
that
mean,
in the
let's just say
same.
you have like 3 or 4. You understand? Now,
Yes.
now, how do you? Because you did something that you don't have to do anything else but just to slash and you added the whatever you wanted to
The
host.
HTML, yes, the
Yeah, you
HTML,
know,
yes.
so it came up. So that which means you do not have to do anything to the static website or to the index.html for you to feature
No,
all these.
I had. You cannot have two index.html having pointing to two websites or initially the welcome page. You can have only one index.html in a
Okay.
website. Okay. But the other index.html, the other was by the name welcome test.html.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had overwritten, then it will be that only one website with that index.html will be displayed. That's the reason I said that I'm actually going for. I have mentioned it particularly. You see, the sharing is on, so you can see that I have mentioned
Mm-hmm.
particularly this HTML, welcome test.html. When I did it, it exposed another welcome page.
Mm-hmm.
So from here you can go to other applications and all this stuff. But here it was, I have not mentioned anything. By not mentioning anything, that does not mean that it is not invoking. It is invoking index.html.
Oh.
The same thing. Either you mention it, or if you don't mention, by default it is index.html.
It is that's okay.
Yes.
Okay, I got it.
Okay. So just to show the power of this thing. Mr. Menon, are you there? Shall I stop the recording, or would you like to discuss
I
something
think
else?
I think we can stop the recording. So guys, we are at the end of our today's session. So if you have any other question, feel free to ask, or else can close today's session.